I was in several comas over a 4 months period. From 2017 to 2018, doctors diagnosed me as brain dead and said I would most likely die. However, I was in a pseudo coma, locked in, conscious the entire time. Ask me anything. Memorial Day weekend 2017, I was diagnosed with a very rare disease called toxic acute progressive leukoencephalopathy. There is no way to prove what caused my illness. The only thing they know for sure is that it was from inhaling a toxin. This disease is nicknamed chasing the dragon syndrome. I used to smoke heroin on tinfoil. Odds are it was a cutting agent. This is my recovery journey from locked-in syndrome, LIS, also known as pseudocoma. It is a condition in which a patient is aware but cannot move or communicate verbally due to complete paralysis of nearly all voluntary muscles in the body except for vertical eye movements and blinking. Everyone thought I was brain dead, but I could hear and see the entire time. People thought I would die hundreds of times, but I slowly came back to life. There has never been a recovery like mine from this illness. Can you tell us how was the moment you finally communicate with another human after being trapped inside your body? Who noticed? How did you speak? Tell us please. My wife, she could tell by my eyes. Eventually stuck out my tongue for yes and then blink my eyes for no. That led to a letterboard. Were you awake the whole time? Did you dream at all? Did you feel any pain or felt any physical touch? I was in there and out, but yes, I could feel pain and that there were times where I felt nothing and times I felt everything. Did you hear anyone trash talk about you? Yes, sadly. Were you fully awake or in a dreamlike state all or some of the time? I cannot imagine how torturously it has to be immobilized but fully conscious. Was an even mix. How did you stay sane? Where did you place your mind to keep from losing it? Very good question. It was very hard, but I had a lot of love for my wife and I tried to keep looking to the future, even though I had little or no chance. Also, I have a very good sense of humor. I tried to keep that alive the entire time in my own head. Can you share some interesting attempts to wake you up? Did people try bringing food you love in an attempt to see if you move? Or deliver some shocking news in hopes of jolting you awake? My wife had a very good feeling that it was really there. She would read to me and tell me about what was going on in her life. She tried to keep things very calm for me. There is one very distant memory I have of my mother-in-law coming to see me and talk to me. Because we are 99% sure this was caused by drug use and she knew nothing about this. She said, "I forgive you for everything and every day, don't worry, I will take care of your wife." She was crying and I felt like crying. Since I've been able to talk again, we have discussed this. I told her in that moment I felt like I shed a tear. She actually told me she thinks she could tell I was sad and was almost caring. Wow. So you were able to see and hear, but not able to move your body? Hear and see nothing else? If given the opportunity, would you have preferred to have been euthanized? I hope this isn't overstepping. I'm genuinely curious. Not overstepping at all. This is Ask Me Anything. The honest answer is there are times where yay, if I had the choice in that moment I would have taken it, but I had those feelings rarely, so overall no. Did you slowly gain back control and alert those around you that you were conscious, or did it all come back at once? I was always alert, but I cannot express it, the muscles to work, and my face took 6 months to work somewhat normal. I still have a long way to go. Good to know you are recovering. When you say that you're facing challenges with regards to physical movements, did it also affect your verbal communication? Did your voice get altered a bit, etc.? Yes, slurred speech. Are you turned off from heroin, or do you still crave it? Turn off 100%, it is the devil. Were you able to move your eyes at all to communicate during the coma? How are you now? Thank you. No, not then, but by the time I was put on hospice care I was able to communicate with my eyes only. After about 16 months in rehabilitation hospitals, all things considering, I'm doing remarkably well and continue to. I have a long way to go, and I'm beginning to really learn how to walk. Thank you. Did you have panic attacks? I feel like I would have them so bad my heart might just stop. Did they keep you sedated in any way or meds to keep you calm? I'm getting anxiety just thinking about what you went through. Yes, in the end, but there was no medication for this feeling. Really curious where your mind goes for months on end. To what degree was it boredom, anxiety, acceptance of situation, etc. I've sat in a dark room by myself for hours, but I can still scratch if I have an itch or get up to get a drink if I'm thirsty. Really wondering how your mind adapts to the situation and how your perspective changes. Any thoughts on consciousness that arose from your perspective? Thanks. There are so many adjectives to try describe this. I have been searching, but there is not one word that can captivate everything. I mean, there are several adjectives that can describe it, but I have been searching for one that can really captivate it with no luck yet. It is unbelievably alone, sad, scary, depressing, and it feels like time stands still. It's so helpless to have people talking to you and saying if you can hear me blink or signal and then not be able to. It is so helpless. Humans adapt. You do to some degree. What other choice do you have? So like sleep paralysis, but for 2 years. What the F, I had that for like 3 minutes and thought I was going to die. My comas went on from October 2017 to February 2018. Then I went to home care hospice for 6 months, where I was virtually locked in. Yeah, it was awful. Did you experience depression while in your coma-like state? Yes. After seeing and hearing, could you think? Could you make up stories and dream up random things? Is there a random joke or a story you could tell us what you came up while in coma? I could absolutely think. I was very active in my own head. How are you doing now? Medically I'm great, same with emotionally. The physical part is where I need a significant work. Relearning how to walk is my biggest thing. Due to the inactivity experience from my coma and hospice, it left me severely contracted. Getting my hands and feet back to a functional position is the biggest challenge. They did not even think this would be possible, but so far so good. What was it like waking up and finally communication and people realizing you were no longer in a coma? Well, it was not. Like I woke up one day, it was just fine. There was another 8 months of not being able to communicate. What did you see while in comas? Seemed to have a view of the entire room. At times I actually had a view, as if I was on the ceiling. When I came out of the coma and just was locked in, I could only look at the ceiling. I want to give you a big hug for beating this. Onwards and upwards. How did you realize you were going into lock-in syndrome? Also, what were the first signs that you were coming out of it? Thank you for the hug. This thing was a very fast, rapid decline. I went from a able-bodied 28-year-old highly functioning to bedridden in 3 months. It was not until the end of October 2017, right after the picture was taken of me, that picture was taken of me with the ventilator, that I realized no one knew I was still in there. How long after you stopped chasing the dragon did this happen to you? I was off and on. The bad batch got into my system and slowly I got sick. What was the initial reaction to you telling people you've heard everything they said? Also, how long were you in this pseudo coma? They were shocked. That's when we realized I was never in a real coma. Who talked the most when you were in your coma? Random emergency room people. As a nursing student, what behavior of the nurses helped you getting through this mess? What did not help? Nice relaxing tones, taking the time to learn the communication system, patience. Do you have any plans on being an advocate for people with heroin addiction? You have an amazing story, and I'm positive your story alone will scare the addictions out of 90% of people. Props to you. Yes, that is one of my many plans. How did withdrawal feel or get handled while you were in a coma, both on your end in the hospitals? Were you locked in your head screaming for heroin? I had a 4-month downfall of getting to the point of a coma. My withdrawals lasted 3 months, but I had much bigger things to worry about after the physical stuff. Was the talk of being brain dead ever definitive, to where there was talk of pulling life support or insurance giving your family a hard time? There was talk about withdrawing life support because there was nothing else they could. Nothing about insurance. My god, that must have been literal hell. I can only imagine what it was like to want to yell, scream, wave your hands, do anything just to say you're still there. Yes, so frustrating, god, I'm awful. What country or hospital were you in? Because brain dead or PVS or and pseudo coma should be easily differentiable with proper examination. I would like to avoid them as hell. Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital also saved my life. Good to hear you are better now. I'm a nurse. Is there anything you think I should know or think about? What bothered you with nursing, etc.? Thank you. Hello nurse. Be patient with non-verbal patients. Hey caring, calm and nice. Most people are having the worst time of their life. Try to understand that and sympathize and do everything you can do to make it better. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. See you soon.